Okay, this is a continuation. Hang on a second. This is a continuation in reference to where I left off at in the previous video. This is a two-part video series in reference to what occurred on February 1st, 2013 at SDSU, in reference to me being brutally arrested by the SDSU campus police. This is a continuation of a video. This is at least a two-part series. In the first part, in reference to, okay, just a video series. So, the first video that this is a continuation from, that YouTube title of that video is in the description of this YouTube video, in order for you to be able to see what led up to the following, okay? And there also might be another YouTube video title in the description of this one, along with the first video YouTube title, in case I forget any details that I'm in reference to this incident. Okay, now I left off at in the first video concerning the fact that the campus police arrived in the media center on February 1st, 2013. I was doing literally absolutely nothing, sitting there minding my own business, attempting to watch a movie. And if you watch what's in the first video, you'll understand why they approached me. So, they approached me, and then they asked me for my ID. They asked me if I was a student. I told them no, that I wasn't a student, but I also told them that on numerous occasions, media center employees asked me, I asked them on numerous occasions if I had to be a student in order to be able to check out movies and watch them, and they told me no, flat out. Excuse me. So, they asked me if I was a student, and I said no, and they go, well, you're not allowed to be using any of the media center services if you're not a student. And I said, really? I go, is there a sign anywhere that dictates this? And they said, yes, it's upstairs. Now, when you look at that, why would it be upstairs? The media center is in the basement, okay? Also, as this conversation was transpiring, and as the whole event started from the beginning to the end, there was a homeless guy who had been in the same media room on previous dates concerning when I was in there watching a movie. And I even pointed that out to them. I go, well, if students are only allowed to use these media services, including watching movies, then why is a guy 2 booths over that was literally viewable to them as we were talking, why is a homeless guy watching a movie? And they said, well, we'll get to him eventually. Now, then they asked me for my ID, and I said, well, there's no really reason for me to give you my ID because you have no probable cause to approach me to begin with. And they said, well, we need to know who you are because the person has complained about you, and they have a reasonable right to feel safe in their school environment. Okay, and I said, well, I have not done nothing wrong whatsoever to even raise suspicion concerning me whatsoever. They said that's not the point. They go, for one, you're trespassing, and for two, we received a complaint. And I said, well, tell me what the complaint is then. I go, this is total BS. I didn't say it that way. The whole goal for them was basically to get my identification. And after we mentally played gymnastics with each other in reference to how they did not have the right to even ask me for my identification, and then they started using the excuse, well, how do we know that you don't have a warrant out for your arrest, or that somebody hasn't reported a missing persons report for you? And I said, I don't have a warrant out for my arrest, and there's nobody that I know that would put out a missing person report concerning me. I don't speak to my family because my family is directly involved in organized crime, and they're also involved in gang stalking. Now, organized stalking and gang stalking is occurring in every single state in the United States, and that can be Googled. But I didn't say that to them. I said there's no reason for anybody to have applied for, to have made any type of report that I'm a missing person, because I'm not a missing person. I'm here. And they basically said, well, if you don't show us your identification, you're going to have to leave. And I said, well, I'm not leaving. See, you got to understand something. Every single time that I went into that media room, and every single time that I went to SDSU campus, I was being subjected to what is known as organized stalking, gang stalking, direct conversation methods, which are sensitization tactics, and arm and hand physical gestures, which are also sensitization tactics, by media staff, by the media supervisor, yes, by students, yes, and by students when I would use the SDSU store to heat up and buy something and then heat up my lunch. Anywhere that I went on SDSU campus, I was experiencing what is called sensitization methods of organized stalking, gang stalking expeditions. and even by library security on previous occasions. I've made videos concerning it, okay? And so anyway, so instead of just going back and forth and arguing with them about I do have a right to be in here, I was told I had a right to be in here before on several occasions by media center employees, I go, you can't show me any reason, any student code, even though they try to give me some BS about a penal code, okay? I said, look, I've been told on many occasions that I have a right to be in here, okay, in reference to, like, I don't have to be a student in order to use these services. I also have many audio files literally showing gang stalking constantly being said around me, even by media center employees, the supervisor Mike, yes, of the media center, and numerous students in reference to me being on SDSU campus on previous occasions, okay? Them getting around me and repeating the word gang stalker, gang stalk, gang stalking was their way to remind me that I am a target of this crime and to make me feel stalked, because they got to know who I am and where I'm at to get around me to repeat these words and phrases, which are called the direct conversation method of organized stalking, gang stalking, sensitization tactics. Yes, and I even flat out started to witness. I even said to them, look, I'm being gang stalked on this campus. Will you make a police report concerning it? And one of the police officers, hang on a second. One of the SDSU campus police officers looked at me right at me when I said that to her, and she said, I'll think about it. Literally just like that. Literally. So I said, okay. I go, if you want my identification, I go, the media center employees have it because I gave them my identification in order to be able to check out a movie. Okay, so she went and got my ID from them. All the while, the person who went and got the SDSU campus police was standing behind the media center counter, even though the media center counter employees acted like they did not know who this guy was at all. Yes. And he told me he was just a student. Okay, so why is this student allowed to stand behind the media center counter, for one? They acted like they didn't know who he was at all. Yes. Now, so, and I got a video picture to prove it. And all the while all of this is happening, it's being tape recorded on this digital tape recorder that was attached to a pouch on my undergarments on my chest. So then they took my identification from the media center employees and then got on the phone. The phone that was sitting on the counter of the media center, the woman did. The SDSU campus police woman, I think her last name was Cruz. Anyway, so she gets on the phone and she acts like she's calling somebody using my identity to get the concerning who I am, concerning what's on my license. So then while she was doing that, I took out my cell phone and I called 911 because I wanted to be able to see if the San Diego police will come out. I was starting to feel threatened by these people. Okay, because for one, the person who approached me was asking me questions that were totally uncalled for, that he had no reason to approach me and ask me these questions whatsoever. I did nothing to imply that I was a threat to myself or others in any way, at any date on SDSU campus. And for two, I knew that I had been gaslighted on numerous occasions by media staff and the media center supervisor, Mike, on numerous occasions. Now, make sure you look at all the videos that are going to be in this blog, okay, because this video will eventually be put in a blog. And also pay close attention, very close attention, to a blog's URL address or a blog title that I will also put in the description of this YouTube video. So you can go and copy and paste that blog title into Google, and then you'll be able to bring up the blog once you hit enter. When you go to that blog, you will literally be able to see me being gang stalked on SDSU campus, literally. Now, as a result of her getting on the phone and then being on the phone while I'm calling 911, and then I got my phone connection to 911 after I kept asking for help, and they said, well, we're just going to let SDSU campus police take care of the matter, and then I got disconnected. Yeah, all of a sudden just got disconnected. So I called 911 back, and they said the same thing again once I reached them, that they were just going to let campus police deal with the situation. Okay, now go to YouTube and type in 2/20/13 learning disabled woman catches a gang stalker admitting catches another gang stalker admitting sexual harass. And that was literally me catching an individual who was harassing me using gang stalking methods on a corner, that admitted that a San Diego police officer put him on a corner to engage in these methods. Yes, once I got off the bus and then walked to the corner, he was already at the corner. Yes. So if you can easily deliberate then that the San Diego police were not going to help me at all in reference to me calling 911 as this incident was unfolding at SDSU on February 1st, 2013. Now, you can also go to YouTube and type in Learning Disabled Woman Catches Gangstalker Admitting Sent Her Harassed, read comments. And make sure in both of those separate videos you look at everything that's in the description of those YouTube videos, cross-reference the statements in each videos to in each video that is in the description of those videos to the statements that are in the host videos that they're in. Okay? And make sure you cross-reference the dates. Now, so she gets off the phone and then walks by me and puts my license in her belt and then stands behind me about 4 feet. And I said, well, may I please have my license? And she goes, no, it's not your property right now. It's mine. And I wasn't going to argue with her. And while all this was occurring, it was being tape recorded on this digital tape recorder and a video camera was running. So then within about a minute and a half, on her walkie-talkie, on her dispatch, comes a message which is the following, in reference to what was being transmitted on her walkie-talkie on her waist, right by me. Okay? Now, that transmitted message was to this effect, that the person that is by the name of Leslie Williams, okay, has drinking and driving, and it might have been possibly drugs on her arrest record, and that she's from New Mexico. Now, I heard it plain as day, flat out, okay? Now, so I said, when I heard that, I go, that's not me. So she goes, the officer goes, well, you need to prove then that this is not you. I go, well, I don't know how to prove it. I just gave you my license. She goes, what's your social security number? I wasn't about to give her my social security number. For one, it's private. And for two, there were other individuals in the media center. If I was to give her my, even if I wrote it down, I wasn't comfortable with doing that because I already knew that this was a staged event. When I locked up make sure you look at the first video that this is a continuation from, and that YouTube title in reference to the first video is in the description of this YouTube video. I was not comfortable at all with giving these individuals my social security number whatsoever, because I already know that gangstalking is directly connected to identity theft, and I had literally been gaslighted by practically library security. Okay? Campus safety walking by me on previous occasions and engaging in gaslighting physical gestures. Yes. Students, staff. You would not believe the proof I have alone is undisputable. Okay? So she goes, well, if you're not going to give me your social security number, you need to leave. And as a reflexatory answer, I said, no, I'm not going to leave because I know that I'm not doing nothing wrong. Excuse me. I said, no, I'm not going to leave because I know I'm not doing nothing wrong, and I know you even approaching me was not based on any legitimate reason, excuse, or probable cause. It was that statement was more like a reflexatory statement because I already knew in my mind what I had experienced by everybody in reference to the media staff employees, the supervisor, SDSU store employees, students, and other employees of SDSU. Flat out. So if you can imagine being harassed on a daily basis practically for the whole time duration of every time that I went to SDSU, I was harassed I experienced gang stalking, organized stalking, sensitization methods throughout the whole time duration of every time that I went to SDSU by the aforementioned people and their employment descriptions. So basically, by the time it got to this point, I was upset. So I said, no, I'm not leaving, because that was like a reflexatory statement, because I knew this was BS, what was happening to me. So Officer Cruz walked closer to me and literally grabbed the video camera out of my hand, and the other police officer that was with her, a male, grabbed my right arm. Okay? Then she grabbed my left arm. So I started moving my arm back and forth, trying to get their hands off my arms. And then I finally just realized that where this was going, and so I said, okay, fine, I give up. And they threw me to the floor, including putting my face right in the floor, and they put their knee right in my back, put my hands behind my back, and cuffed them. Then when they got me up, guess what Officer Cruz did? She started patting me down, including my chest. Went inside of my bra and took out this tape recorder. Okay? Yes. Yes, she took it out. Then they went through all of my pockets, took out everything out of my pockets, and then walked me upstairs. And by the time this happened, I was already crying, and so I started yelling, I'm being arrested because I was exposing gang stalking. Okay, and I even said that the campus police are involved in it because separate police officers had gaslighted me on previous occasions. Okay? So then they put me in the car, and I want you to listen to this closely. They put me in the car, and then they took my backpack and the black carry-all that I carry with me and went through everything. And just maliciously went through it all. Then the male police officer got in the car and said, Leslie, you need to tell me your P.O. box so I know that I got the... He goes, you need to tell me what your post office box number is so that I know that I got the right one on my screen, on his computer screen in his car, which meant that they knew who I was. So how could they have gotten that kind of a transmission concerning Leslie Williams having drug offenses on her record and drinking and driving on her record? I had a drinking and driving on my record way back in 1990, okay? And I found out from another state, and I found out over time that that was an orchestrated event, orchestrated towards me for me to experience so they could make money off me in Michigan. And that's already proven, okay? Literally proven. I'm not an alcoholic, for one. And for two, I have not ever in my entire life had any arrest for drugs or anything concerning drugs in reference to my arrest record or anything else. So how did he know? So then I told him my P.O. box. I go, and then I said, is that the one that's on your screen? And he didn't say nothing, okay? But how did he know I had a post office box in order for him to ask me that? So then he gets back out of his car, and they start talking together, and then he opens up the car door and says, Leslie, we're not gonna, he goes, you've been arrested, we're giving you a citation, but we're not gonna take you down to the jail, but you are being banned from the SDSU campus for 7 full days. And I said, well, and then I thought to myself, well, this didn't click right away, but I thought to myself, if I'm being arrested for trespassing, then how can I come back in 7 days? Yes. So then he gets me out of the car and tells me that I gotta leave the campus for 7 days. I get all my stuff back together, they take off, and then I leave. Okay? And then I started putting all this stuff together in my head once I left. The only thing that I can tell you, and then guess what they did? They erased the entire audio file of all the interactions of what happened in the media center. Yes. Now, you got to make sure that you look at what's at the first video. This is the second video, and there might be a third one in case I remember any other particulars that occurred. But let's examine this in reference to what's already stated in the first one and in the second one. SDSU Media Center employees acted like they did not know who the guy was that went and got campus safety, even though when he came back with campus safety, he walked right behind the media counter and stood there for the whole time duration of everything that was going on. They acted like they did not know him at all. I remember, to be totally honest with you, I have a vague memory. I could be mistaken, but I have a vague memory of that guy waiting on me one time in the media room, months before. Now, I could be wrong concerning that though, okay? But they acted like they did not know him, but yet when he came back with campus police, he walked right behind the media counter, nonchalantly, walked right back behind it. He was grabbing things out from behind the media counter desk, like, because there's shelves on the other side of the counter in reference to what the counter is. There's shelves, okay, that's part of the counter. He was reaching over and getting things from the media counter, okay, on the other side where the media employees were working, okay? Then they acted like that the information that was transmitted over the walkie-talkie was about me, even though once they put me in the police car, and then the police officer got back in the car, he stated that he knew I had a post office box, and he wanted me to tell him which one it was to make sure he had the right one, which meant that they originally had my proper identification. Yes, because otherwise how would he know I had a P.O. box? I never told him I had a P.O. box. Not once. Okay? And this whole in reference to what happened in the media center, though, I have a video file of. Okay? Now, I haven't uploaded that to the internet yet because I'm afraid of doing so, because cyber surveillance and cyber espionage is a method of gang stalking. Yes, and I have literally had videos erased from my memory card. Like at UCSD, I put at that time I was using a USB connector. I'd plug it into their computer and then plug in the video memory card into the USB connector and then try to open it up in order to upload the videos. I have literally had video files erased right before my eyes at UCSD Biomedical Library. Yes. Okay, so I still have that video card in reference to all the interactions between me and them. Okay? And why would they erase the audio file? Think about that as well. Also, if I was being arrested for trespassing, then why am I allowed to come back after 7 days? Also, I sent them an email asking them, telling them that I was acting up as attorney pro se, which means my own attorney in this matter, asking them to send me information stating to the effect that I would be allowed to come back after 7 days, and they have never replied once. Not once. Also, did this arrest occur 36 hours after I noticed, I'll put it to you this way, that someone put into my Gmail account and a video stating to the effect that Senator Feinstein was notified about a specific woman being a crime victim. And in this contact information, did it state, will this woman be arrested or banned from any university or any public library as a result of contacting you? And within 36 hours of me noticing that in my Gmail account, okay, and the first time I arrived at SDSU, after I noticed that in my Gmail account, that was noticed by me on January 30th. Now, I had not been to SDSU from the point that I noticed it on January 30th to the morning of February, or the early evening of February 1st, okay? I had not been on SDSU campus once. And within 5 minutes of me arriving on SDSU campus, I am brutally arrested for doing nothing wrong. And I literally, after I arrived at SDSU and locked up my bike, I stated in my digital tape recorder, let's see if anything happens here today. And I still had that audio file, because once that individual left me and I checked out a movie, which you'll understand in the first video, I started a new audio file. So there are segments of him harassing me on that audio file, and me catching the SDSU Media Center employees acting like they didn't know who he was. Yes. And me arriving on SDSU campus is all in the same audio file. Okay? So, this is what happened in reference to me being arrested. Now, there's also a video online that's been online for months concerning the supervisor of the media room literally threatening to have me eventually banned. Because I was eating a Tootsie Roll, and he walked by me and said, "You're not allowed to eat in here. This is my house." And I said, okay. So I stopped eating, and I said, I said, well, this is your house? I go, what do you mean this is my house? He goes, I run this place. I go, well, fine. I go, but I am a taxpayer, and as far as I know, don't taxpayers pay through their property taxes for this building and the operations of it? And since I'm a taxpayer, how is this your house? Okay? Yeah. Exactly. And he goes, well, okay, fine, then it's your house, is what he said. He goes, I tell you what, he goes, I'm going to eventually have you banned. That was all caught on audio file and uploaded to the internet, just for eating a Tootsie Roll, minding my own business. Now, again, remember this as well. On at least 3 occasions, I asked Media Room Center employees if you had to be a student in order to use their Media Center services. They told me no, I don't have to be a student. Also, the campus police never went back into the Media Center Love Library in the Media Center and told that homeless guy to leave. They never did it once. Not once. They took off and left my entire environment, the entire, where all this occurred at in reference to once they brought me out of the Love Library. They took off and went in the opposite direction of where the Love Library was, leaving that homeless guy flat out right in there watching movies. Why didn't they get on the radio dispatch and have another police officer come and evict him? Why? Now, test the situation if you're watching this video. On any day, you can go in there, and any day you can go into the media center at the SDSU and go in and ask if you can check out a movie. At the very most, they'll just take your license and hold it. They don't write down your license information. They just hold it because you're checking out a movie, which means you got their property, and so they got to have your identification in case you try and walk out with their property. They just put it in the card that holds the number of the movie you take, and they put it in this little box. Okay, so on any date you can go to SDSU in their Love Library, go to the basement, and then ask if you can check out a movie. Okay, and if they do tell you got to be a student, cleverly ask them or get somebody to ask them, how long has that been going on? Now, I went on the SDSU Media Services on their website, and it does not state one thing at all that you have to be a student. Okay, I'm in San Diego, California. My name is Leslie Williams. In fact, I think one time I even asked at the reference desk, it's either on the first or second floor of the library, if I had to be a student in order to use the media services for research. And they told me no. So why did the SDSU campus police lie to me and say that I was trespassing and that I cannot use these services unless I'm a student? Yeah. all you have to do is look at this. And also, the city's attorney's office, this happened on February 1st, 2013. Me, on numerous occasions, went down to the city's attorney's office and asked them, why have I not gotten anything in the mail concerning a court date concerning this arrest? Even though the SDSU campus police told me I'd be receiving something within 30 days. They told me because the city's attorney's office is still investigating this. Well, what the heck do they have to investigate? What do they have to investigate? Is this organized stalking, gang stalking expedition who's being, I believe, managed by somebody in the system? Because I have literally been gaslighted inside the Hall of Justice by employees and other individuals that have been in the building for numerous different reasons. Okay? Now, and I've already got videos online to prove quite a bit of this. Okay? So, all we have to do is think to ourselves, you can go to Google and type in organized stalking or gang stalking in street theaters. And what that is nothing but a term that describes staged events. So, what's going to happen to me before this court date comes? In reference to me having to appear before court. What's going to happen to me as a result of me being out in the community? They stage events to set up, and they'll stage witnesses concerning the event. Okay? Why would this be being stonewalled? Are they hoping to have me arrested? Falsified police reports at businesses, public libraries, any other university, travel routes, any business? If they stage an event and then stage an arrest, by the time this citation from the SDSU arrest reaches the judge, he's going to say, Leslie, you have other pending things from you being arrested at other places. What's going on with you? I tell him I'm being gang stalked, and he acts like he don't know what it is. Yes, and also let's see if any of my other videos are used against me in court concerning any arrest. Because an organized stalking, gang stalking expedition, it has not only been discovered by me as a result of thorough, extensive research, it's been literally exposed online by journalists that gang stalking and organized stalking is nothing but organized crime in the system. Flat out. Okay? Now you can go to Google and type in a gang stalking tech, everything you need to know. It's a manifesto of a manager of organized stalking, gang stalking crews. And he flat out states that the favorite place to trap a target is the courts. He calls it the mincing of the meat, where the target is the meat and the court is the mincing of the meat. Yes, he talks about syndicated judges, the fact that entire police departments have been taken over. He talks about syndicated schools. Yes. So all you have to do is do the math. This is organized crime in the system, and at the end of the day, all you have to do is meticulously research every description that I've described in this video, the descriptions that are in the first video that this one's stemming from, and that video title is in the description of this YouTube video, okay, and then thoroughly and extensively research gang stalking all over the internet. And thinking about it this way, why do I have over 700 audio files of the harassment that I experienced on SDSU campus being utilized around me along all of my routes? Almost 700 audio files of the same exact, identical, open, overt harassment happening around me for me to hear, which is in part the following: literally individuals getting around me and saying, gang stalker, gang stalking, gang stalk, oh my god, gang stalker, weird, gang stalk, oh my god, gang stalker, gang stalking, oh my god, weird, constantly along all of my routes, everywhere I go. Which was the same harassment that I experienced at SDSU. I gotta go. Please look in the description of this YouTube video for cooperating material in reference to this event of me being arrested at SDSU on February 1st, 2013. Thank you.